Honourable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in their sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and their good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Our members, for now, no message from His Excellency the President, no formal communication by the Speaker at the moment. We then move to item numbered 5 and do correction of vote and proceedings. We do not have official reports available for correction at the moment. So I hold in my hand the vote and proceedings of Friday, 26th May 2026 for correction. Page 1. Yeah, Tuesday, 26 March 2026. Zara Tuesday. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, 11, and 12. Honourable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 26 May 2026 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the plan is to take a statement from the Minister of Finance, but he's on his way coming. So I'm hoping that with your indulgence, we'll vary the order of business and take motion numbered 22. But the chairman of the committee is actually just approaching the chamber. And I believe any moment from now he'll be in the chamber and we will be able to take motion numbered 22. But in the meantime, what I think we can do to buy time for both the minister and the chairman will be to go to the order paper addendum and lay some papers, and whilst doing that, wait for the chairman of the committee. I also want to urge the private members who filed and are sponsoring the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, if you can also be preparing, because it is our plan to take the report of the committee today. So in the order paper addendum, we have listed the members sponsoring the bill. If you can make a few calls to colleagues who are sponsoring the bill to try and be in the chamber, so that we will take the second reading of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill today. So, Mr. Speaker, I crave your indulgence that we take addendum order paper item number 1A.
Yes, Deputy Minority Whip.
Speaker, we are not opposed to it. I just see the difficulty in the majority leader buying time for the finance minister and then a chair to come and make a statement and take a motion. But Speaker, we are not opposed to the variation at all. We are not.
But the foreign minister is not here.
And the foreign minister obviously is also not here. So I do not know how they intend to do that. It doesn't come to the chamber. Majority leader, the foreign minister doesn't come to the chamber.
It's not because he's a foreign minister. Foreign ministers ordinarily are not within the jurisdiction. They are mostly traveling abroad, representing us and prosecuting our interests. So, I mean, some aspiring foreign ministers are in this chamber, and they know what they. Some aspiring foreign ministers are in this chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, I think there's no objection, so we can lay the papers, and if you agree, I will ask for permission for the Minister for Roads and Highways to lay the papers on behalf of the Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Yes. At commencement of public business, presentation of papers, item numbered 1 on the order paper addendum. 1A1.
African Union Convention on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls.
Honourable members, the paper is duly laid and it is referred to Foreign Affairs Committee on Gender with leadership of Constitutional Legal joining them. Item numbered 1AII.
Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the rights of citizens to social protection and social security.
Honourable members, the item numbered 1AII has been duly presented and it is referred to a Committee on Human Rights. Item numbered 1AII.
Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the rights of older persons in Africa.
Honourable members, paper duly presented and it is equally referred to Committee on Human Rights for consideration and report. Item numbered IV.
Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the rights of persons with disabilities in Africa.
Paper duly presented and it is referred to the Committee on Human Rights for consideration and report. Item numbered 1AV.
Agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Government of Antigua and Barbuda on exemption from visa requirements for holders of diplomatic, service official, and ordinary passports of the Government of Antigua and Barbuda and the Republic of Ghana.
Honourable members, paper duly presented and it is referred to a committee responsible on foreign affairs for consideration and reports. Item numbered 1AVI.
Agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the International Center for Migration Policy Development.
Honourable members, item duly presented. It is referred to a Committee on Foreign Affairs for consideration and reports. Item numbered 1AVII.
Convention on the Establishment of the International Organization for Mediation.
Honourable members, paper duly presented. It is referred to Constitutional and Legal Committee for consideration and reports. Item numbered 1AVIII.
Agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign affairs, and the government of the Maldives on mutual exemption of visa requirements for their respective nationals.
Honourable members, paper duly presented and it is referred to the Committee on Foreign Affairs for consideration and reports. Item numbered 1AIX.
Agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the government of the Republic of Zambia on waiver of visa requirements for holders of diplomatic, official, service, and ordinary passports.
Honourable members, paper duly presented. It is also referred to a Committee on Foreign Affairs for consideration and reports. Item numbered 1AX.
Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Government of the United Arab Emirates in the field of manpower.
Honourable members, paper duly presented, and it is also referred to a Committee on Foreign Affairs for consideration and report. Yes, Majority Leader, any indication?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we have the chairman of the committee.
Majority Leader,
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
can we lay item numbered B on the other paper addendum? The report of the committee. On
Item number B.
Yes.
Okay.
Report of the
Chairman
Committee
of
on
the
Constitutional and Legal
Legal
Affairs
on the
Human Sexual Rights
the deputy here.
and Family Values Bill 2025.
He's not here.
Yes, any of the sponsors can lay the paper, the report. Yes, the committee
Any of the committee.
chair or a member of the committee can lay the reports. So, yes, leader, a member
Yeah,
of the
Mr.
committee.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker. A member of the committee.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
So, available leader, a member of the committee is laying the paper.
Speaker, I'm not too sure if he can guarantee whatever he intends to move. I was hoping that a member, any of the members, no, I'm talking about the sponsors. So I think we can step it down.
This is a report of the committee.
Very well. If it's a report, yes.
It's a report of the committee.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. Don't you?
Report of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs on the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025.
Honourable members, reports have been duly presented, and it is for a distribution to honourable members. Yes.
Speaker, the report that we just laid, I'm one of the sponsors, but somehow my name has been omitted out of the list of sponsors. So if table office can.
Well, when we get to the motion,
Very well, yes.
we can do that correction when we get to the motion.
So, Speaker, I think they are not sure of his commitment to the bill, so they decided to omit his name. So, Speaker, I will crave your indulgence for us to still take the motion number 22. Motion number 22. The Minister for Roads will move it, and then the chairman of the committee, who is here, will present the report, and then we can.
Very well. Minority Chief Whip, Deputy Minority Chief Whip. The application is for the Minister.
Yes,
for Roads.
Speaker, we are
very
not
well.
opposed.
Very well. Yes, the Community Service Bill 2026. Minister for Roads and Highways, for Minister responsible for Interior. You have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that motion listed 22 on today's order paper on page 8 be moved now, which is that the Community Service Bill 2026 now be read the second time.
Honourable members, motion ably moved. May I humbly call on the chairman of the committee to present the committee's reports.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I second the motion ably moved.
This is second reading, so just present the reports.
Very well. Mr. Speaker, I have in my hand the report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the Community Service Bill 2026. Mr. Speaker, I pray that the Hazard Department captures the report in its entirety, whilst I touch on some salient points. Mr. Speaker, the Community Service Bill Mr. Speaker, let me take you to page 3. The administration of criminal justice in Ghana has over the years relied significantly on custodial sentences as a primary form of punishment for convicted persons. This approach has contributed to persistent overcrowding in prison facilities, placing considerable strain on the Ghana prison service and imposing a growing financial burden on government in respect of inmate maintenance, healthcare, feeding, and infrastructure. In response to these challenges, the Ministry of the Interior proposes to prioritize non-custodial sentencing within the broader criminal justice reforms. The objective is to provide appropriate alternatives to custodial sentences for minor and specified offenses, thereby advancing rehabilitation, mitigating recidivism, and facilitating the effective reintegration of offenders into society. Mr. Speaker, on page 13 of the report, the committee holds that the effective implementation of the bill requires targeted capacity building for public officials and relevant stakeholders, coupled with systematic public sensitization on the community service scheme. These interventions are necessary to ensure a uniform understanding of the objectives, procedures, and benefits of non-custodial sentencing among implementing actors and the general public. The committee endorses the conduct of structured training programs for judicial officers, law enforcement personnel, and other relevant stakeholders, including community leaders and traditional authorities. The organization of cross-sectoral workshops would further strengthen interagency coordination and advance the statutory objectives of the scheme. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee observes that the continued reliance on custodial sentencing for minor offenses has contributed to prison overcrowding, high rates of recidivism, constraints on restorative justice, and disproportionate impacts on vulnerable populations. The effective implementation of the community service framework provided for in the bill would strengthen public confidence in the administration of justice, promote compliance with court orders, facilitate offender rehabilitation, and enhance the sustainability of sentencing policy. Upon review of the Community Service Bill 2026, the committee finds that the bill constitutes a material step toward reforming Ghana's criminal justice system through the institutionalization of structured non-custodial sentencing. Accordingly, the committee recommends to the House to adopt its report and to pass the bill into law, subject to the amendments approved during the consideration stage, pursuant to Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution. Respectfully submitted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the motion for the second reading of the Community Service Bill 2026 has been ably moved by the minister responsible for roads and highways. Chairperson of the committee has also presented the committee's reports. It is now for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the motion to the report ably presented by the chairman of the committee. Mr. Speaker, this is a welcoming bill, and the report is very detailed and gives a clear indication of what this bill seeks to do. Mr. Speaker, safe to say that under paragraph 3 of 15 of the report, it details what the Ministry of Interior proposes to prioritize as non-custodial sentences within the broader criminal justice reforms. Mr. Speaker, at page 5, the report deals or talks about the purpose of the bill and seeks to establish a National Community Service Secretariat. Mr. Speaker, it's a very important secretariat being envisaged under this bill, but I want to admonish the ministry that because of the very important nature of this bill and what it seeks to do, resources that is required to ensure the implementation or the effective organization of this secretariat ought to be made available in order not to create Goro boys at that secretariat. Mr. Speaker, it's very important to look at that. Secondly, we heard the chairman refer to the fiscal impact analysis as attached as Appendix A. You realize that that analysis or those analyses were made in 2023. And having seen a review, we are in 2026, and we are talking about 21 million Ghana cedis in 2023 as being the fiscal impact. We are in 2026. What is the actual figure? What are we talking about? I think a review of the fiscal impact analysis ought to be done to bring it in line with the current happenings, especially when ministries, departments, and agencies are suffering from releases from the Minister of Finance. They all have to go for what we call commitment authorization, stifling ministry, departments, and agencies, Mr. Speaker. It's very important that the Minister for Interior, who is seated, gets a review of this analysis by the Ministry of Finance and report to the House so that we support him in the implementation of this very important bill, so that he doesn't go and suffer obtaining what we call commitment authorization, which has become an albatross on the neck of all ministers, chief executives of this country, being implemented by the Minister of Finance. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you are the mover of the motion, so you should be concluding for us. No, I'm saying that the minister responsible for roads and highways, he moved the motion, so he will be given an opportunity to conclude. You have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, just to state that the minister responsible for the Interior is now here, so I'm going to make my contribution as an ordinary member of the House. Mr. Speaker, I add my voice to colleagues who spoke earlier to say this bill is very important. Mr. Speaker, it is very difficult to understand why a young man who, out of hunger, though wrong, steals cassava and is thrown to jail the same way as somebody who murders another person. I think this bill is intending to make better sense of our criminal justice system. And indeed, keeping people in custody actually imposes extra financial burden on the state. Those people could get community service and clean the street within the communities within which they committed the offense. I heard my good friend, Honorable Yaobuama, talk about the need to reassess the financial impact of this bill. I agree with him. The only thing to add is that if this review takes place, it might actually reduce the figure, knowing very well that the economy has performed magic where things are far, far better. I also heard him talk about commitment authorization. Mr. Speaker, indeed, commitment authorization is the requirement to get commitment authorization has always been on our books. Unfortunately, governments in the past did not have the courage to implement it. Its implementation today is part of the reason we are able to exit the IMF program in flying colors and determine that we shouldn't go back there. So commitment authorization is to curb excesses where we go and commit government to expenditure in excess of what we can actually pay. So it is not supposed to stifle government program. And it is also clear that, unlike the past, Mr. Speaker, for instance, today, NHIS has got maybe at least 1 billion Ghana cedis sitting in their account waiting for claims. This is something, a kind of news we've never had in 2023, 2024. Today, how do you call it? Get Fund has got money to be able to pay for classrooms. Today, Mr. Speaker, the CD is far better than it was in 2024, all because of prudence and the limitation put on ourselves. Mr. Speaker, today, the interest rate that we are paying on everything, Mr. Speaker, is far better, unlike at a point in time 50-something and then 23 and other things. So I agree with Honorable Buama that we should bring a revised indication as to what this bill means. He means well, because he knows that if the revision is done, this 23 million could reduce to maybe 20 million or 19 million. So I agree with him that he notices the positive trajectory of the economy and is in support of that and intending that we should review the figure to make sure that we benefit more. And with that, these few words, Mr. Speaker, I believe this will be one of the finest things we've done to reform our criminal justice system. People who steal goat, people who steal cassava, yes, it is a crime. It is not supposed to happen. But in my mind, anybody who steals a fresh corn from a farm is calling for help. It means that the person is hungry. And the best punishment for the person cannot be to put the person in jail and now ask taxpayers to contribute money to feed him in jail. Let that person clean the street or weed the side of the road in that community as a befitting reform process and reduce the cost of criminal justice and carry out better reform of that individual. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I encourage colleagues to support this bill at the second stage so that we can do the bill and consideration and pass a bill as quickly as possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I speak to point number 8.2 at page 8 of page 8, which is the funding and financial sustainability. Mr. Speaker, very respectfully, what we have in here is a clear highlight that there isn't sufficient funding source available. Mr. Speaker, and I believe that we should at this point be brainstorming on how we are going to provide this source of funding to enable this pursuit to become sustainable. Mr. Speaker, there is the proposal that some allocation be made from the District Assembly's Common Fund. But that is already struggling. What we have in terms of the District Assembly Common Fund has never been enough, even for what it is statutorily provided for. Yet, a suggestion is being made that 5% of it should be made available for the funding of this particular project. This is where we need to focus. This bill, this is where we need to focus. How are we going to provide funding for this? It's the elephant in the room. So laudable as this is, Mr. Speaker, we need to discuss how we are going to provide sustainable funding for this. When you look at the entirety of that particular paragraph, it's raising issues of funding. And so I believe that the sponsors of the bill should be making available to this House how they intend to make sustainable this pursuit. Mr. Speaker, very respectfully, I submit.
Yes, Honorable Zanato.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to make a comment on the report of the Committee on Defence and Interior on the Community Service Bill 2026. Mr. Speaker, this is a very forward-looking bill, and I certainly hope that members will participate in the consideration of this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, if you look at paragraph 8.4, the reference to gender-sensitive sentencing, it's really something that's very revolutionary as far as what we do in Ghana is concerned. And it's looking at the specific peculiar conditions that perhaps women who may be pregnant or who may have dependents, young children, for example, and the considerations that will be taken on board regarding sentencing, as well as recognizing the fact that historically, women have suffered levels of gender-based trauma and abuse. And this is making sure that looking into the future, we don't have members of our communities that when they are sentenced end up undergoing certain types of trauma and abuse and probably coming out worse off than they started off going in. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the fact that this is in line with Article 27 of the 1992 Constitution, and the fact that under the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, this shows that Ghana is really looking forward in terms of gender mainstreaming, not just our budgets, but our bills as well. And it is my hope that in considering this bill, we will be cognizant of the fact that our communities should be able to benefit from some of these sentencing regimes rather than becoming a burden to the communities, as well as the fact that we do not want recidivism with regards to our females who will be sentenced and perhaps put in jail over the period. And with reference to what other members have made a comment on, is to ensure that the taxpayer is not shouldering an extra burden with regards to the feeding and the accommodation of persons who could otherwise serve some other punishment as part of the sanctions regime. So, Mr. Speaker, I would urge that members take an interest in this particular bill, as all communities will likely be impacted by this. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Kwame Anyimedu Entry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the passage of this long-awaited bill. It is very important bill that I think the whole House is waiting for this bill to be passed. I note, Mr. Speaker, at paragraph 7 of the report, the fiscal impact analysis of the bill. And this is a requirement that every bill that comes to the House we have to. And the savings that the ministry gives us is that we're going to make a savings of 493,407 from the prisons. I do not know if they have quantified the overcrowding of the prisons that this bill seeks to cure. So to me, there will be a lot of savings by the government, physically, financially, and other things. Mr. Speaker, I should, however, sound a caveat that in drafting the bill, we need to be careful. I overheard one person saying that we could, for instance, if we are, for instance, passing some bills like anti-LGBTQ bill, we could look at community service as a remedy or as a punishment if somebody is found foul. We need to be very careful, because I wonder how you put somebody to do community service when the person is accused of LGBTQ activities. Mr. Speaker, you must as well sentence the person to death, because people might even beat the person to death on the streets. So we have to be very careful in making sure that we do due diligence in assessing the kind of offenses or people that we convict that will be sent to do community service. But overall, I think this is overdue, and I will commend the minister so that the whole House will embrace it and do it with the spirit of light. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister responsible for. Yes.
Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Speaker, let me particularly commend the Minister of Interior for this.
That guy.
Speaker, I'm hearing that guy, the other guy, I don't know where. And it's coming from this side. Why are you saying that guy? Please allow me to make one. Speaker, I want to personally commend the Minister of Interior for a very good job done. Speaker, as
honourable members, order.
Okay. Speaker, as you can see, this, we cannot say that my side of the House is not in support of. All the submissions so far made gives you an indication that this is a very important bill. Speaker, first of all, for community service, as a student of criminology, I know that it benefits both the society and the offender. Speaker, to the extent that what the offender seeks to do or had gone to do, for which reason he or she would have gone through some custodial sentencing, sometimes may not just be a major offense. The Minister of Roads gave an example. Someone went in, stole a tuber of yam, and the person is incarcerated, even for a week, Speaker. And what happens is that if you look at the size or the sizes of our prisons in Ghana, it gives you an indication that there is overcrowding. You go to some of the prisons and you would see suspects or prisoners virtually standing because they do not have the requisite space to sleep. And when they even want to eat, there is no room for them. Speaker, so what you see is that where there is community service, there is reduction in overcrowding in the prisons. Second, you would also understand that it costs the taxpayers a lot of money to feed prisoners. And then where the Minister of Finance, Iteto, would have used the money to do the roads in Wejagbawe, he would end up using the money to take care of prisoners. And these are prisoners who may have just stolen a tuber of yam, or a goat, or a sheep. Speaker, so why would you not rather give the person room to serve the community he or she belongs to? That in itself puts the person under some stress, and that in itself gives the person some avenue to be rehabilitated. Speaker, if care is not taken and you push everyone or anyone to prisons for a very small offense, you may end up promoting recidivism. Recidivists are repeated offenders. They go in, they learn, they become hardened, and when they come out, they do worse things. Speaker, another reason why we should promote or push the community service is because it allows for family societal connection. Because when you are within the community and you are doing this community service, your friend, the society, wherever you find yourself, they try to give you a helping hand. Because sometimes they may just understand that the reason for which you have caused an offense or committed an offense may be as a result of anger. You didn't have food to eat. Or somebody just triggered you and you misbehaved in a certain manner. But when you have this communal support, you become a changed person. Speaker, it also allows for offenders not to truncate any form of employment they find themselves in or their education. Assuming a university student who may have gone to steal something from his hall, maybe he stole a mobile phone, and that is the reason for which he is to be incarcerated. Speaker, what would happen is that such university student may not be able to proceed with his education just because he or she did so. But Speaker, such a university student can be made to weed several places, paint a lot of places, clean, go to the toilets, especially the Commonwealth toilets, get in there and make sure that place is well kept. And when this happens, Speaker, that person will not want to repeat that kind of offense. Speaker, there is also this part about inclusion of traditional authorities which have been captured in 8.5. And I think that that is a very important aspect of this. Our traditional leaders are the embodiment of customs and tradition. Speaker, I'm running up. And Speaker, you know, when we are able to empower them or resource them to instill discipline within the community, Speaker, some of these things that we see, even the disregard for basic traditional laws and customs, will not happen, because whoever may have committed this offense will know that you will be made to reappear before the traditional authority. And Speaker, their punishments are the kinds that if you are not careful, you will not want to try that offense again. Speaker, with all of this said, let me commend the Minister of Interior once again, and especially against the background. These are, for me, Speaker, as an individual, these are two major things he did with the holiday bill, and I have said that maybe we have not taken a look at it, but that bill, what it does is that normally when you have to do maybe a Tuesday and there is an opportunity to do a Friday, it gives you ample time to rest so that you can come back on a Monday.
The bill available for us is a community
service bill. He's still a friend of that guy.
Yes. Very well, Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me not belabor the point. I think on several occasions, members in this House have called on governments over the years to consider developing an infrastructure for community service as part of the penal system of our country so that we can reduce the reliance on incarceration of all convicted persons. I think the point has been made about how costly incarceration is and the fact that incarceration has tended over the years to undermine the reformative objective of penalty when one commits an offense. So we want to commend the Minister for the Interior for bringing before us this community service bill so that we can establish the infrastructure for implementing community service as part of the penal system of our country. Let me highlight the fact that this bill itself does not define the offenses for which community service will apply. This bill does not do that. The Attorney General and the Minister for Justice will have to bring before us provisions amending the criminal code to identify the specific offenses where judges will be given the option to apply community service as part of the sentencing in lieu of incarceration. So I want to call on the Attorney General and Minister of Justice that once we are done with passing this bill, that he should bring to Parliament a set of proposals identifying the specific crimes that we can apply, community sentence as an community service as an alternative. Mr. Speaker, I heard colleagues raise issues about financing. Clearly, this is an innovation, but there are precedents around the world that we can learn from. And so let's start. If along the lines we are having challenges with financing, this House is always there for a proposal to be brought for our consideration. But let us not forget that community service is at a local level. Community service is at a local level, at the community level. And this is clearly within the remit of local government, authorities. And that is why the focus is on the community, the committees, the district committees, because they are the ones essentially that will be enforcing the community service provisions and implementing it. Let's not forget that community service can be very beneficial to local government authorities because essentially it involves the provision of labor, either weeding, cleaning, participation in infrastructure work, and etc. And this is labor that local government authorities will benefit from. And cheap labor. For big push. For big push, I'm sure they need engineers and, and architects and laborers. So that's why the focus should be on developing the infrastructure at the district level. And so colleagues who are members of district assemblies will notice from the bill that there is supposed to be a report from every district that it has established the infrastructure. So I urge all of us upon the passage of this bill to try and assist our various assemblies to establish the infrastructure so that our constituents can benefit from having this alternative sentencing regime instead of being incarcerated. I thank colleagues for supporting the motion, and I believe that this is part of the wider reforms of the criminal justice system, and the Chief Justice is also reforming the judicial system to make sure they build their capacity to be able to implement provisions of the Community Service Act if it is ultimately passed. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Minister for
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
concluding remark.
if I were to make any lengthy comment, it would be like I haven't appreciated what my colleagues did before I came in. Mr. Speaker, you remember yesterday was Eid al-Adha. I was in the constituency, and this morning, because of the rains, almost all the flights from Accra, Kumasi to Accra had to be excessively delayed. And that really accounted for my running into the chamber late, even though I knew we had scheduled to take the bill today. So I'm really very sorry, but to thank colleagues for all the contribution that they made. Mr. Speaker, the issue of overcrowding is something that if we have to talk about will be very pathetic and I mean is beyond sometimes comprehension. If you check our current prison population, the overcrowding is over 37%. We have a current population of about over 13,000 prisoners that are in our prisons. And Mr. Speaker, like many contributors rightly mentioned, today the cost of maintaining them, in fact, feeding them alone requires 10 million a quarter. And so annually, we have to feed them with 40 million. Mr. Speaker, even the 40 million, hopefully inadequate, we want to thank His Excellency the President and the Finance Ministry for reviewing the what we call ration fee, which was 1 cedi, 80 pesos, to now 5 cedis. Even without 5 cedis, Mr. Speaker, we believe that that is woefully inadequate to feed an adult. Because if you take into consideration school feeding, caterers are giving, I think, about, 4 cedis, 50 pesos for a meal for children in basic school. Now we give 5 cedis for adults for 3 meals. I don't know who created 3 and say it is square. Because they say 3 square. How can 3 be square? For 3 meals. So you can see the situation. And it's exacerbated, Mr. Speaker, over the years. We've not expanded the facilities. So if you take some of the facilities, for example, like in Sawam, which was built originally to take this about 1,500, today it's carrying over almost 4,000 prisoners. If you check Kumasi, which was built to take just about 500 prisoners, today it has over 1,600 prisoners. You can just see clearly that it is an area that is a bad difficulty. But Mr. Speaker, like I said, most importantly, I must thank my predecessors, especially the late Makoyongo, for the work that he tried to get this bill to this House. Unfortunately, he never saw, he was never able to do that. The like of His Excellency Kusi Ahoy also tried, they couldn't. We have Honorable Ambusderi, he tried, he couldn't get it here. Honorable Herukwete, they all did their best. And Mr. Speaker, one of the things that helped me was not to start by reinventing the wheel, but to just build it upon where they got to. And I'm sure that is why, within the space of 1 year, we've been able to get it to that, because we're just building on what they were able to do instead of trying to start it all over again. I must thank His Excellency, especially the Minister for Attorney General and the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. I had to constantly be harassing him virtually to get this work from his ministry, and they did so well to assist us. The majority there in cabinet, everybody did their part. Mr. Speaker, let me just say, I heard majority there saying that we expect the Attorney General to come out with a guideline with this. If you check clause 40 of the bill, it clearly states what qualifies for the community service. It is sentences that are 3 years or below. Any sentencing that within our Sentencing Act that is 3 years or below can qualify for what we call community service, service. But it also gives the judge other rooms to be able to do other things. Mr. Speaker, with regards to the funding, I know someone says the biggest elephant in the room. Yes, funding is a challenge, and that's why we are proposing that this Assembly Common Fund, because like the majority of the said, this is a community-based thing. And when they provide those services, they are not supposed to be paid any amount. So this is to help the Assembly itself. So if we are going to fall on the Assembly Common Fund, I think it will be a right thing to do, but that's for this House to decide. Mr. Speaker, this community service bill, if it's passed into act, will still remain incomplete if we are not able to get the parole regulation also passed. And Mr. Speaker, we are currently working with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, because we've moved from cabinet, and I'm very optimistic that maybe next week we'll come to the House to lay the parole regulation, because that is what is going to complement this, to make sure that we decongest our prisons very, very effectively. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, I've been working with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General in the constitutional amendment that is currently ongoing, that we should make remand very restrictive, because currently it is massively abused. With the least provocation, they say they've remanded somebody. You go to police, they remand people anyhow. Sometimes they give terrible bail conditions which people are not able to meet. We want to take the opportunity in this constitutional amendment to restrict this unnecessary remand. I'm sure if we're able to get these three things working together, it is going to help us to decongest our prisons and also ourselves, and make life a little more better. Like I said, Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to speak much, but to thank all my colleagues who had helped to get this up to this point, and to also urge the House to take keen interest when we get to the constitution stage, because that's where the real meat is, and that's where we need to make sure that we have a bill or an act that can stand the test of time. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Honourable members, the debate on the principles of the bill, on the basis of the explanatory memorandum and the report of the committee, has been concluded. Now, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted.
An act to establish a National Community Service Secretariat, provide for community service as an alternative to custodial sentencing for persons convicted of specified categories of offences and for related matters.
Honourable members, the Community Service Bill 2026 is accordingly read for the second time. Yes, Majority Leader, before then, permit me to acknowledge the presence of our revered visitors. Honourable members, I have the pleasure to introduce to you members of the Delaware Institute for Children, Peace and Security, who are here on a familiarization visit. The objective of their visit is to brief the Committee on Security and Intelligence on its ongoing work in Ghana and the region. The delegation seeks to explore potential avenues for collaboration, including strengthening policy integration and early prevention efforts in line with Ghana's leadership in peacekeeping initiatives. Our visitors are Mr. Asini Chidimu, Project Director. 2, Major General William Omani Ajekum, retired, Focal Point, Ghana. Honourable members, on behalf of the House, I welcome the delegation to Parliament and I wish them fruitful deliberation. Honourable members, let me also acknowledge the presence of students in our midst. We have Zinu KKMA 2 Junior High School, led by Harriet E.K. Fiagome, head teacher. They are from Kpong Katamanso. They numbered 64. We have Regis Montessori and Basic School, led by Emmanuel Afre, head of department. They are from Anyaso Otum, the number 65. Then we have Apostolic Church, Ghana, Bomfa District, led by Pastor Daniel Ofori, Bossman, District Pastor, Bomfa. They are from Juaben. They numbered 33. Then we have Ghana Nurses and Midwives Trainees Association, led by Nashuruddin Akparibo, President. They are also from Anya West Wagon, Ayawaso West Wagon. They numbered 11. Honourable members, again on your behalf, I welcome them to Parliament of Ghana, and I wish them fruitful visit to Parliament. Our members, we also have National Conference of State Legislatures, led by Tim Story, Chief Executive Officer. They are 4 in number. Our members, I equally welcome them to Parliament of Ghana. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I had earlier indicated that the Minister for Finance will want to make a statement today on a major government policy. And we varied the order of business to take on other items whilst waiting for the Minister. So the Minister for Finance is with us, and so I'll crave your indulgence for us to go back to statements so that we can have the Minister make the statement that has been planned for today regarding some major developments in terms of the finances.
Honourable members, Right Honourable Speaker will take the chair.
Yes, Majority Leader, you may continue.
Right Honourable Speaker, when we got to statements this afternoon, we indicated that the Minister for Finance intends to make a statement which you have admitted. But we varied the order of business to take other items whilst waiting for the Minister and your good self. So, Mr. Speaker, now that you are here and the Minister of Finance is here, if we could revert to item 6, which is statements to enable the Minister to make the statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, before we take the statement by the Minister of Finance, it's important on your behalf I acknowledge the presence of an important delegation of about 6 honourable members of the British House of Commons and the House of Lords, together with some officials. They have visited our Parliament from Saturday, 23rd, and they will be leaving Saturday, 30th May 2026. The delegation is made up, as I told you, 6 honorable members of parliament and 2 CPA, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association UK officials. And they are here to interact particularly with leadership and members of parliament. I have had the opportunity of receiving them already in my office, but they want to have some interaction with the following committees: Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Committee on Energy, Committee on Health, Committee on Lands and Natural Resources, the Committee on Human Rights. Definitely, they want to explore the collaborative roles played by government, ministries, and agencies in shaping policies for development. I, on your behalf, want to acknowledge their presence, and I want to start by looking at those from the House of Commons. And we have here Belavia Janet Ribeiro Adi. Oh, I'm trying to get you on my screen. Yes. Those of you who are very young, you may not know the name of Ribeiro. Ribeiro is a very, very important name in Ghana. Their backgrounds are from Portuguese to Brazil, and they came to settle here in Ghana. In fact, that was the first Gold Coaster to be called to the bar in 1883. It's from the family called Ribeiro. Because of their background, both, yes, this is their great-grandson, the deputy majority leader from Ogua, Cape Coast. So, honorable member, you have your no, that will be your colleague. Their great-grandfather was the first to be called to a bar in 1883, before our illustrious son, who started the Aborigines Right Protection Society, okay, Robert Saba, Mensa Saba, and he was called to a bar in 1887. That's the difference. They started the profession here in Ghana. So you are most welcome. I want them to know how important you are. Then we also have Natasha Dawn Irons, also from the House of Commons. Please take note of the gender composition. Then the third is Abina Opong Asare. She's also a member of the House of Commons. I don't need to introduce Abina to you. You already know where she comes from, the background. And then also we have Graham Charles Stewart, also from the House of Commons. I'm told she is a very powerful member representing Scotland. Yes, and he belongs to those who are very vibrant opposition members. Yes, we had an interaction. And then we also have David Michael Dugan, also a member of the House of Commons. We have from the House of Lords, Baroness Thris Ann Kofi. You know, she is from the House of Lords, not the House of Commons. There's vast difference between the two. You now have the two officials, Bertram Beatrice Thomas and Jacob Telsha Lewis. Both are officials from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association UK branch. Honorable members, on your behalf, I warmly welcome the delegation to Parliament and I wish them fruitful deliberations. Please find time to meet them. They have a lot of good ideas. We have had very good cooperation with them, and I'm sure they are here to deepen, widen, and strengthen it. Once again, you are welcome. Honorable members, may we now give the opportunity to the Minister of Finance to give us a statement. Please, Minister, you may do so now.
Mr. Speaker, I come before this House to provide an update on the substantial progress we have made in restoring macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability ahead of the original timeline. Right Honorable Speaker, this address will also announce a new chapter in Ghana's engagement with the International Monetary Fund. Mr. Speaker, it is a consequential moment in President Mohammed's reset agenda, and indeed, in the life of our nation. It signifies Ghana's passage from crisis management to stability, from dependence on financial bailout to partnership in reform, and from uncertainty to renewed confidence in our economic future. Right Honorable Speaker, to appreciate the magnitude of this moment, we must briefly recall the gravity of crisis that Ghana faced in the year 2022. Mr. Speaker, on the 1st of July 2022, the previous administration turned to the IMF for a financial bailout after their gross mismanagement of the economy had driven the country into fiscal and balance of payment crisis. Mr. Speaker, the then NDC flag bearer acknowledged the decision as necessary, though a belated intervention to arrest the decline and to ease the severe hardship being borne by the people of Ghana through no fault of theirs. The scale of that crisis was profound. It was traumatic, if not distressing and devastating. The city came under intense pressure. Inflation rose to painful levels. Investor confidence deteriorated sharply. External reserves were strained, and Ghana lost access to the international capital market. As a result, credit rating agencies responded by downgrading Ghana's sovereign credit rating repeatedly in 2022 to levels never seen in our country's history. Right Honorable Speaker, in February 2022, Moody's downgraded Ghana to CAA1 from B-. In August 2022, S&P downgraded Ghana to CCC+. Again, in August 2022, Fitch downgraded Ghana to CCC. Mr. Speaker, in the same year, September 2022, Fitch again downgraded Ghana from CCC to CC, signifying the severeness of the situation. Finally, in 2022, October, Ghana lost access to the international capital market, with Ghana's Eurobond spread widening to all-time high of 3,400 basis points. Right Honorable Speaker, this further deepened the economic crisis and the financial crisis to the point that the Ghana Cocoa Board was unable to secure a syndicated loan for the first time in many years, after 33 years, in fact. Also, some domestic commercial banks could no longer obtain external funding or establish letters of credit, as international banks declined to confirm these instruments. Mr. Speaker, on the 5th of December 2022, following the announcement that Ghana could no longer meet its maturing domestic debt obligation, the NPP administration then introduced the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, DDEP, imposing significant haircut on domestic bondholders. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 13th of December 2022, Ghana formally requested debt treatment under the G20 Common Framework in order to restructure its bilateral debt portfolio of more than $5 billion United States dollars. Mr. Speaker, on the 19th of December 2022, the NPP administration again defaulted on the servicing of Ghana's external commercial debt obligation. Mr. Speaker, the far-reaching haircut affected the Bank of Ghana, commercial banks, non-bank financial institutions, pension funds, insurance companies, individual bondholders, and even pensioners were not spared. Right, Honorable Speaker, ordinary Ghanaians bore the heaviest burden of that crisis. The consequences were felt across households, businesses, and institutions through rapid depreciation of the currency, runaway inflation of more than 50%, massive erosion of disposable incomes and savings, painful haircut on domestic bondholders, including pensioners, punitive interest rates that constrained private sector activity, the imposition of nuisance taxes, including e-levy, betting tax, COVID-19 levy, and emission tax. Speaker, we witnessed job losses, business distress, and weakened investor confidence, and a sharp rise in poverty and economic insecurity. Right, Honorable Speaker, in the midst of all these hardships imposed on the people of Ghana, the government of the day then remained bloated, purposefully inefficient, and riddled with waste. Mr. Speaker, by December 2024, those responsible proceeded to undermine the very IMF program they themselves had signed to correct the mess that was imposed on the people of Ghana, missing targets and commitment under the IMF program. That was the depth of the crisis that we inherited. Mr. Speaker, it is important to recount this, to dwell on the past, not to dwell on the past, but to remind ourselves of the heavy price of fiscal indiscipline and economic recklessness, and to affirm our collective resolve that Ghana must never again return to that path. So, Speaker, let me take that again. It's important to recount that it's important for us to recount, not to dwell on the past, but to remind ourselves of the heavy price of fiscal indiscipline and economic recklessness, and to affirm our collective resolve that Ghana must never return to that path. Right, Honorable Speaker, some painful experiences cannot be taught. They must be lived to be understood. But once experienced, never again should they be repeated. The Speaker, never again should the people of Ghana be made to go through such horrible experiences. Right, Honorable Speaker, upon assuming office, President Mahama's administration moved with clarity and purpose to reset the Ghanaian economy and bring the IMF-supported program back on track. Mr. Speaker, we recalibrated the IMF program to ensure fairer burden sharing and deeper structural reforms. Among the several measures we undertook in 2025 are as follows. Mr. Speaker, first, we introduced the Public Financial Management Act and introduced commitment authorization to control government expenditure. Mr. Speaker, we audited government arrests and payables to eliminate recycled IPCs and overpayment. We stopped the misuse of tax refund accounts to finance schemes such as SML. Mr. Speaker, we amended the PFM Act to institutionalize a 1.5% of GDP primary surplus and 45% debt to GDP by 2034. Right, Honorable Speaker, we introduced the Gold Board to enhance FX stability and reserve accumulation. We operationalized the sinking fund with dedicated CD and US dollar buffer to manage future debt maturities. Mr. Speaker, we removed nuisance taxes such as e-levy, betting tax, emission tax, and VAT on motor insurance to support private sector activity. We also established the Office for Value for Money to improve public expenditure efficiency. We established the Independent Fiscal Council to check compliance with fiscal rules. Mr. Speaker, not all. We introduced IPP renegotiation. We concluded IPP renegotiation, saving over $250 million United States dollars and cleared over $1 billion United States dollars in legacy arrests in the energy sector. We also reduced ministers of state from 123, later to 88, to now 60. Mr. Speaker, we reduced government ministries from 30 to 23. Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm pleased to report that these measures have produced clear and measurable results. Mr. Speaker, real GDP growth reached 6% in 2025. Most importantly, non-oil GDP growth reached 7.6%, the highest in 14 years. For the first time, Ghana's economy crossed the $100 billion United States dollar threshold in 2025, making it fully fledged emerging market economy. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy is now ranked the 8th largest in Africa. Ghana's per capita income increased to $3,385 for the first time. Again, Mr. Speaker, the primary balance recorded a surplus of 2.5% of GDP in 2025. Our public debt to GDP reduced to 44.7% at the end of 2025, ahead of the schedule 2034. Mr. Speaker, Ghana achieved the debt to GDP target of 45%, well ahead of the IMF program of debt rule target by 2034. Our debt service to domestic revenue improved considerably from 55.7% in 2022 to 28.8% in 2025, even with the resumption of full Eurobond obligations in 2025. Right, Honorable Speaker, Ghana achieved a moderate risk of debt distress from high risk of debt distress under our debt sustainability analysis, the first time in 12 years. Mr. Speaker, inflation declined now to 3.4% in April 2026. 91-day Treasury bill has declined by over 2,300 basis points from 28.4% in January 2025 to 4.8% in April 2026. Mr. Speaker, the 2-year, 3-year, and 5-year bonds are now trading in the range of 11%, 12.6% compared to 20% in the previous year at the secondary market. Mr. Speaker, monetary policy rate has declined by 1,300 basis points from 27% in January 2025 to 14% in April 2026. Mr. Speaker, the current account recorded a surplus of 8.7% of GDP as at December 2025. And most important, Mr. Speaker, our currency appreciated by 40.7% against the US dollar in one single year, in the year 2025. But Mr. Speaker, these results affirm a simple but enduring truth. Mr. Speaker, fiscal prudence and discipline always delivers results. Fiscal prudence and discipline always delivers results. Right, Honorable Speaker, macroeconomic stability is not an abstract policy objective. It is the foundation for jobs, income, investor confidence, and national prosperity. It is also the lesson we must carry forward if we are to ensure that the people of Ghana never relives the hardships of 2022. Prudence does not mean we are failing to spend, Mr. Speaker. We can only spend what we have. Prudence is the difficult road for wealth creation. Mr. Speaker, prudence does not mean we are failing to spend. We can only spend what we have. Prudence is the difficult road to wealth creation. Right, Honorable Speaker, on the 77th Annual New Year School on the 6th of January 2025, President Mahama stated that it is my hope that this will be the very last time we ever go for an IMF bailout program. It must be the 17th and the last time that Ghana goes for a bailout from the IMF. The President further noted that we will continue our collaboration with the IMF under Article 4 and other instruments. I repeat, no further IMF financial bailout is currently required in the foreseeable future. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have evolved from the position of supplicant to one of a partner with the International Monetary Fund. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore my singular honor to announce to the House that Ghana has successfully concluded the final review of the current financial bailout program pending approval by the IMF Executive Board. Mr. Speaker, as Ghana moves beyond the extended credit facility, our engagement with the International Monetary Fund will transition to a reform-focused, non-financing policy coordination instrument. Mr. Speaker, the policy coordination instrument is a non-financing IMF instrument designed for countries that do not require IMF financing, but seek a credible framework for reform, regular policy reviews, and a stronger signal to investors and development partners. For Ghana, this marks an important shift from seeking financial bailout to engaging as a credible reform partner, while continuing to benefit from policy discipline, external validation, and strengthened investor confidence. Mr. Speaker, the PCI will enable us to continue leveraging the IMF's regular policy assessment and expertise as a signal to investors, thereby certifying the credibility of our stewardship and further strengthening our credit rating. In other words, Mr. Speaker, Ghana has moved from the intensive care unit
to the wellness center. Mr. Speaker, that's simple. We have moved from ICU to wellness center. Wellness center, from ICU to where you are well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to build on this hard-won foundation of stability, President Mohammed's administration has designed a new economic program, the new economy, to be unveiled as part of the 2027 budget. Mr. Speaker, the new economy will move Ghana from stabilization to transformation, with a clear focus on sustainable jobs, higher productivity, greater resilience, and broad-based prosperity. Right, Honorable Speaker, President Mahama is grateful to the people of Ghana for their sacrifice, patience, and steadfast forbearance. We do not take their support for granted. The Speaker, our solemn pledge is that we will not be complicit. We will continue the hard work of building the Ghana we want. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable members, the minister has read his statement to us. I want to know from the House through the leaders the timelines for people to make comments. As you know, it's a statement, so it's not open to debate. Timelines for people to make comments. So from leadership to the backbenchers, what are the timelines so that we can stick to that? Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the statement has just been read, and this is a statement with far-reaching economic implications. And there are many members who have not yet obtained copies of the statement. And so my plea, and I've conferred with colleagues on the other side, is that we defer comments to Tuesday so that members can study and digest the statement in its entirety, and then we can have a full-blown commentary on the statement. Mr. Speaker, we also are agreeing that we'll have 90-90 on both sides. 90 speakers on both sides. So we expect.
Do they have problem with the numbers?
We expect the minority to raise 90 members to comment, to comment on Tuesday. This side will be ready with its 90 members. Mr. Speaker, I think we are at Edem with our colleagues on the minority side on this matter. If they have difficulty with the 90, they can engage, and then we can reduce the numbers to numbers that fit the sizes of our respective.
Yes, minority from bench. Yes, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We just listened to a very provocative statement from the finance minister. Mr. Speaker, we don't know if the finance minister was rehashing his 2026 budget or he was giving us a prelude to his midterm review. Mr. Speaker, we agree with the call by the majority leader that we suspend commentary on the statement made by the finance minister to next Tuesday, so that we'll have ample time to rebut the propaganda in the statement by the finance. Skillfully, he refused to talk about the losses of the gold board in the statement. Skillfully, he refused to talk about the public debt as at May this year. Next Tuesday, we are going to expose you big time As of today, you haven't even settled the cocoa farmers, and you are here to launch your presidential campaign. Yeah, we'll expose you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, thank you very much for. Speaker, the majority leader is asking for us to do 90-90. Speaker, we believe in quality rather than quantity. We have observed them do submissions on this floor. Speaker, unfortunately, it doesn't match the substance from this side. Speaker, we are willing to do 90-90 because we know that they won't even be able to do 10. Speaker, we are in your hands, but we are willing to do maybe 15-15.
Honorable members, I agree with leadership that we need to defer the commentary on the statement just delivered by the Minister of Finance because of the nature and importance of the statement. Our rules, however, require that the comments from members should not be more than 5 minutes. But I've been given an exception. It says, except otherwise permitted by the Speaker. That is why I want, before that day, I agree with leaders as to the timelines, and I raise it initially. And so that we may give some ample time for members not to debate. We say comments, but comments definitely, we'll be dealing with facts, no debatable issues. And you may, before you bring your facts, tell me which one is not factual, and then we'll take that on board. Because what he just said was not on the areas that he mentioned, but he said that there are some areas that he ran away from, and then he mentioned those things. That's different. That's not debating the issues that he has raised. That's commenting, and that's permitted. So we want to know the timelines, and I'll give time for leaders to engage, and then agree on the timelines. Then we can apply it on that day. I don't know when you want it done, tomorrow, or I'm told that the House is thinking about sitting on Monday. You want it to be taken on Monday or Tuesday, whichever you prefer. But if it's Monday, I will not be on the chair. But from Tuesday, I'll be available.
Mr. Speaker, the proposal to sit on Monday is so that we can deal with backlog of questions and statements and referrals to committees for which we have reports. So we will rather have the commentary on Tuesday when you will be in the House and preside. So that's the proposal, so that the backlog of questions and then statements by members can be accommodated on the Mondays, so that Tuesdays we do regular business.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we attended them to have it on Tuesday. Speaker says that there is some judicial notice in respect of the finance minister making such statements without furnishing us with advance copies of his statements. And sometimes we are ambushed. We would prefer that some of these things are shared ahead of time so that we'll be well versed with the details of same. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, let me clarify this issue. Statements from the Speaker and ministers are not meant to be circulated in advance. It's only statements from members. Because of the nature of the statements that we make, sometimes when you make it available in advance, something else could happen. You see, so we don't make it known to the House. And when we deliver it, then you now get to know it. So if you look at Order 91, it's different from Order 93. It's in 93, which is statement by members, that copies need to be distributed. That is, notice need to be given to the members to prepare and come and then exchange with their members. But Speaker is above members. I don't need to give you notice of my statement so that you go and prepare, because you can't even comment on my statement unless I allow you to do so. In the case of the ministers, because of the issue of policies and other things, they don't give advance notice. So we take it as having been deferred to a preferred date. But whilst we look at the date, this House has agreed to host a conference from the 3rd to the 6th. The 3rd, if I'm not wrong, is on Wednesday next week. We're looking at the participation of all members because it's a very important conference which deals with families, the sovereignty, and the values of the African. And we want you all to be part of it. And so we propose to even use the chamber for the conference. So if you are taking dates, keep that in mind and make sure that those dates are reserved for the conference. So you may use the whole of Tuesday for the statement, but Wednesday we'll have this conference, Thursday we'll have the conference, and then Friday, you know, it's your half day so that you can attend to your constituents later in the evening. So this is the position. I'll leave it to leaders to take the decision and then inform speakership. With this, I'll seek your permission to go and receive some other guests who are paying courtesy call and yield the floor to the First Deputy Speaker. So First Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Yes, Majority Leader. Any indication?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. We had earlier indicated that we would like to take the report of the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on the Proper Human Sexual Values Bill. So the Vice Chair of the committee is here, and the report has been ready And so we can just take that as the last item for the day.
Yes, Deputy Minority Whip.
Speaker, we are not opposed.
Very well. May I call on a member, one of the sponsors, to move the motion number 2 on the order paper addendum. Please, one of the sponsors should move the motion numbered 2.
Speaker, I rise to move that notwithstanding the provision of Order 104, Rule 1 of our standing orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. The motion for the second reading of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 may be moved today. Speaker, I so move.
Yes, motion move. Any seconder? Yes, Honorable Nyimedu.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Very well. Mr. Honorable Anthony Mie seconded the motion. Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This is a procedural motion. I will therefore put a question. As many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted. Now we move to item number 3 on the order paper addendum, motion for the second reading. Yes, Honorable Roxanne Nelson Kwame Eche Dapamako. The substantive motion.
The Vice Chair. Speaker, that will be moved by the Vice Chair of the committee.
Very well. Well, I thought the Vice Chair would rather be presenting the committee's report.
Speaker, yes.
So I'm
Speaker,
right in calling upon you to move the motion.
Yes, Speaker, that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 be now read a second time. So, Speaker, I so move.
Motion for the second reading of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 is ably moved. I will call on the Vice Chairman of the committee to present the committee's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to second the motion.
We don't second the motion at second reading. That's why I said present the committee's report.
Very well. Mr. Speaker, I present the report of the committee. And Mr. Speaker, I wish to state that the committee met and deliberated on the provisions of the bill. And I pray that the table office, capture the report as if same has been presented, seriatim, and read in toto. Mr. Speaker, I wish to highlight on a few provisions of the report. But prior to this, let me give some antecedent matters leading to the presentation of this bill. Mr. Speaker, this bill...
Are all those antecedent factors not captured in the report?
That is so.
So once Hansard has captured it, go to the conclusion.
Very well. Mr. Speaker, I just want to lay emphasis on a couple of provisions in the report, particularly page 7, paragraph 5.2, which talks about exempting the intersex group. Mr. Speaker, subject to your permission, if I may read this provision. And it says that the committee observed that the bill seeks to criminalize a category of persons referred to as the intersex community. Keywatch Ghana and Intersex Ghana informed the committee that intersex persons do not form part of the LGBTQ plus community. They explained that intersex is an umbrella term used to describe persons born with natural biological sex characteristics, such as chromosomes, hormones, or reproductive organs that do not fit the typical medical definitions of male or female bodies. For instance, instead of having the typical XX female or XY male, chromosomal combinations, an intersex person may be born with XXY, Klinefelter syndrome, or XO Turner syndrome, or a mixture of different chromosomes in different cells. The committee was informed that at birth, a baby's genitalia may appear atypical or ambiguous, making it difficult for doctors to determine whether the child should be assigned male or female. Consequently, there is sometimes a need for medical professionals to undertake surgical or therapeutic interventions to align the individual with a recognized male or female binary. So, Mr. Speaker, one of the things that the committee came to on a conclusion is to exempt this category of medical situations. And I think that that was a good development. Mr. Speaker, we also received some memoranda from key stakeholders. And if you look at page 8, paragraph 5.4, it talks about applicability of the bill to activities of other public institutions. And Mr. Speaker, the law also made provision for situations where people may be exempted from provided evidence, or let's say in situations where people receive information in the course of their official duties. For instance, if you are a lawyer or a priest, you are not under obligation to disclose such information when it comes to reporting and all that. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the committee recommends that this report be adopted and for the House to approve same, so that this bill we can take this bill from here to the next stage. I pray accordingly, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion ably moved, report duly presented. It is for the consideration of the House. Now, the debate on the principles of the bill will arise on the basis of the explanatory memorandum and the report of the committee as presented, pursuant to Order 127. Honourable members, the floor is now open.
Speaker, by way of a humble guide, we pray that we take 2-2 and then leadership will wind up.
Very well.
That is agreed.
Very well. Yes, Honorable Kwame Anyimadu Entry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is an old bill that had come before this House in the last Parliament, and it came in the same form this time. Mr. Speaker, will take notice of the conclusion that the committee, having carefully analyzed, unanimously recommends that this House adopts the report and pass the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 into law in accordance with Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't want to say much. This bill had attracted interest in the nation. And Mr. Speaker, you bear me out. You were a witness to this. That we had more than 200 memoranda that we needed to scrutinize. And we considered about 100 and something before this House, before we sent it here. When this bill was represented, we had also had interest of other people and organizations, both in Ghana and outside. And the committee had scrutinized this law, I wouldn't say it's a popular bill, but we have scrutinized it. Our duty, Mr. Speaker, is to make sure that it doesn't frown on the principles of our Constitution. And we have so far anything that would frown on the Constitution or the existing law, we'll make sure that it doesn't go through this bill to become an act. Besides that, I should sound a caveat that when this is passed into act, I have been wondering how we could be prosecuting culprits under this law. Maybe it may lie down like some others and gather some other laws in Ghana. For instance, we have bigamy in Ghana, but I don't know how many people have been prosecuted under this. So we need to do a balancing exercise, and the whole committee, and I believe the whole House, we have come to a point that we need to pass this bill. And I don't think we need to waste much time on it. And so, Mr. Speaker, I would just support the Vice Chair of what he had presented, that on the principles we have gone through, and so far we haven't seen anything that pins this bill down. So the House is ready, the committee is ready, and at appropriate time, we'll go through the clause by clause. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute and support the bill before us, Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill to be passed into law because from our traditional background, from our religious backgrounds, and from the majority of Ghanaians, we do not countenance some acts of sexual behavior because of our religion and our traditional beliefs. So this bill comes in handy to at least clarify how we should all comport ourselves when it comes to sexuality. Many people have raised concerns, both internal and external, of this country regarding this bill. But I can say that this bill even comes to support the fear that some people contain about minority groups. Yes, minority groups can be respected, and we stand by that. But our Constitution makes it very clear on how we should behave sexually, and this bill actually does not go in any way infringe on our Constitution. And once our Constitution was adopted by Ghanaians and still we support it, I think the bill has come to clarify a whole lot of things. Issues that we used not to understand, like hormonal issues, chromosome issues relating to sexuality, are now being clarified. And the whole of Ghanaians, every Ghanaian is now getting to understand that this bill before us, talking about human sexual rights and family values, is one of the best bills that I think any country has passed when it comes to sexuality in the public. So I would like to call on everybody, just like the public is crying. The pastors are yearning for this bill to be passed. Politicians are yearning for it to be passed. The ordinary Ghanaian is yearning for it to be passed, so that anybody who violates it and try to market his sexuality, aberrant sexuality in public, will be dealt with to prevent our youth, our children who are growing, from practicing type of sexuality that would prevent what God gave to us in a silver platter. Go ye and produce and fill the well. And I think that is what this bill is talking about. Go to the Bible. Go to the Bible. Mr. Speaker, I therefore, at this point, would like to encourage everybody to support this bill to be passed into law to streamline sexuality in our country. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Asafoaje.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am grateful for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I am very much appreciative of the leadership for introducing or bringing back this bill to the House. Mr. Speaker, I want to also commend all the sponsors of the bill for, being consistent, dedicated, and then pushing the desire and the wish and will of the country. Mr. Speaker, when you look at paragraph 5.1, it's talking about the rationale of the bill. Mr. Speaker, this is the bill that they go down to explain that has the national unity and support for the passage of this bill. Mr. Speaker, this is the bill that saw for the first time clergy, in fact, men of God, hitting the streets to demonstrate for the passage of this bill. Mr. Speaker, this is the bill that you would see members of parliament, in fact, hinging their campaign on this bill. Mr. Speaker, this bill was the bill that gave room to many Christians within the Christendom, many religious leaders, for victimizing the erstwhile administration of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. For, Mr. Speaker, for the want of a better word, a confusion about the transmission of the bill from Parliament to the presidency for the president to assent. Mr. Speaker, I am happy that when we went through the circles, when we did the circles, Mr. Speaker, it is back to the House here again for the approval. And I am grateful. For once, it will demonstrate the commitment of both sides. Two, it will tell the country that it was not a deliberate attempt or refusal of the MPP government or Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for not assenting this bill. The process is clear. And Mr. Speaker, there are times that the Speaker has made conflicting statements from what the majority leader has also made. So, Mr. Speaker, if we are here today and everybody here is witnessing that you have a overwhelming majority of the House that can even take a day to pass this bill, Mr. Speaker, I am happy. I am only urging that just like we passed the gold board bill, Mr. Speaker, just like we did the, the e-levy bill, just like we did other bills with certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, it is important that we add some urgency to this LGBTQ bill so that we can pass it just today. If it's possible, we can pass it today for the president to assent to it tomorrow so that it becomes a law. Because you have the numbers, you don't have any problem in passing this bill. We can stay overnight, just like we stayed overnight for the gold board bill. Mr. Speaker, I am happy again that we are in unison as a country in supporting this bill. What we then differ is the speed at which we will pass this bill. Mr. Speaker, the minority is saying that the speed should be much more accelerated so that we can pass this bill today. Mr. Speaker, we are here, we are ready to do business, to sit and then go through the clause by clause of this bill so that we can pass it now. We don't want to defer this bill for any date. certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, let us pass the bill now because Ghanaians, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pentecost Church, the clergy, the charismatic churches, everybody is ready and willing that we pass this bill. And God being so good, you have the numbers, the overwhelming numbers to pass the bill now. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that even the Muslims, when they were celebrating their Salah, in fact, wish that this bill was passed today. So, Mr. Speaker, I will want to thank you, to thank the sponsors of this bill, and urge that the majority will sit today under 24 economy 133, so that we can have a session who would work from now till 12, and then another session will work throughout the night, and then another session will come and continue in the morning, so that we'll pass the bill and transmit it to the president for the president to assent to the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On a serious note, who are the MPs coming in the night? Are we going to divide ourselves into three?
Mr. Speaker, 133, so that we can have a session working now and a session working the other 133.
Honorable James Agalga, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the adoption of the report ably presented by the Vice Chairman of the committee. Mr. Speaker, if you go through the report, you would find that it is captured succinctly that this bill was previously passed by this House and transmitted to the President of the Republic at the time, who refused or neglected to sign the bill into law after it had been duly transmitted to his office. Mr. Speaker, I recall how the Executive Secretary to the President at the time issued a cease and desist order against the clerk to Parliament. In fact, the clerk was roundly ordered to cease and to desist from seeking to transmit the said bill to the President. Mr. Speaker, those orders purportedly issued by the Executive Secretary of the President at the time were unconstitutional in nature. They were unlawful orders which were not complied with by the clerk. Now, when His Excellency the President became seized with the matter, what did he do? He declined to sign the bill into law. Mr. Speaker, I would want to assure my colleagues on the other side that we will enact this bill into law with deserving speed. And Mr. Speaker, let me assure them that when this bill is eventually passed into law, your clerk would not suffer the cease and desist orders the Executive President purported to unleash on him. In fact, I can assure you that the transmission of the bill from this House to the office of the President would be seamless and smooth.
I will take it there myself.
And again, I can assure you that knowing who this current President is, he will not run away from his constitutional mandate of signing bills duly enacted into law by this House. He will sign. And the difference at that point would be very clear to all, for all to see. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I support that this House adopts the report of the committee and do justice the same. Thank you very much.
Yes. Minority leadership.
Speaker, respectfully, I would yield to...
Very well, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, my leader. Mr. Speaker, it's been quite a journey in getting here. From the commencement of meeting this term, Mr. Speaker, we know how difficult it was to even get the bill onto the order paper. The spirited effort on the part of the majority leader to prevent this from getting onto the order paper is so notorious that we couldn't miss it in this house. Mr. Speaker, when it eventually got onto the order paper...
Majority leader. And honorable member, I would admonish you to be guided in your debate. Yes, majority leader, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, so maybe you just withdraw what he said so that we can proceed.
Very well, you heard the majority
Mr.
leader.
Speaker, it was so notable. In place of the word notorious, Mr. Speaker, I introduced the word notable. Mr. Speaker, it was so notable that it could not be missed. Mr. Speaker, when it eventually got onto the order paper...
Honorable member. Honorable member, kindly withdraw.
I withdraw. And Mr. Speaker, it was so notable. But it was so notable that it couldn't be missed.
Honorable member, kindly resume your seat.
Notable.
Kindly resume your seat. Yes, majority side.
Mr. Speaker, I think when this... Please, you are sitting directly behind me. Mr. Speaker, at the commencement of the life of this Parliament, there was some discussion in this House as to whether or not the bill which was transmitted to the President, the former President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and which the presidency at that time resisted receipt of the bill for the purposes of assenting. There was a debate as to whether or not the bill had been passed and therefore should just be assented to by the present sitting president, or that we should reintroduce the bill to now take it through the entire life of the bill. I, at that time, took a position that so far as I was concerned, the bill had been passed by Parliament, and therefore the simplest thing to do was for the present president to just give his assent so that we will not waste our time taking the bill through the processes that we've already taken the bill through. This provision, this argument was rejected by friends on the other side, calling for the Speaker to now give a ruling in this House as to whether the bill should be considered passed or that it needed to be reintroduced in this House for us to consider. This is what happened. And so for a member today to stand up on his feet and say that I resisted the bill being put on the order paper, it's just not accurate. It doesn't reflect what happened in this House. That's why I say let's have some candor when we are debating these things and stop trying to be sensational and etc. This country knows what happened. Our proceedings have been on television. Civil society followed this bill closely. I was on the committee that considered the bill. I was on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of the last Parliament. And all the hearings we had, all the work we did, I sat there. So I know more about this bill than many of you who have just come to this House. So, Mr. Speaker, please, Let's not today try to be sensational and in the process misrepresent the facts. I still hold a view that so far as I was concerned, Parliament passed it, and the sitting president could have just done us the honors to assent to it, and by now the bill would have been passed. All this argument today that, the bill has delayed here and etc. If you had adopted my argument, this bill would have been assented to by the president, because at that time, the president said he was ready to assent to it. He was ready to assent to it, and is still ready today to assent to it.
Honourable members, at the time material, I was the ranking member for Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. I am privy to the debate that the majority leader is speaking about as to whether the bill not having been assented to in the life of that parliament, the bill lapses or it still remains a bill to be forwarded to the current president to assent to. So the statement that the majority leader resisted the bill being placed on the order paper cannot be factually correct. It is on that basis that I will call on the honorable member to withdraw.
Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, before he comes in to apologize or withdraw whatever instructions you are giving. Speaker, in the same light, my request or prayer would be that the majority leader should also withdraw the use of resisted by the former president. That is not a matter of fact. It is not a matter of fact. There is no evidence to that effect. Else, Speaker, we are going to insist that you would maintain the word majority leader resisted. Speaker, there is no factual situation to that effect. It is not a matter. What do you mean by resisted? How did he resist it? How? The letter amounted to resistance. Speaker, then we are not going to. I would advise my friend not to also withdraw. What does it mean by resisted? Nobody resisted it, and we are not going to allow you. If you are not excited about the use of resisted, why are you trying to use it on somebody else? You are claiming that you did not resist.
Honorable members, with all due respect, I was in Parliament as the ranking member when the letter emanating from the Executive Secretary came to the floor of the House. And the content of the letter was very clear. The Hansard of this House will bear everybody out. That is a matter of facts.
Speaker, unfortunately, you have been drawn into a debate. And Speaker, I do not think that is fair to this side. Speaker, you cannot say for a fact that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo resisted assenting to the bill. If there are legal processes and same had to be followed, Speaker, it does not amount to resistance. The majority leader is finding it offensive for my colleague to say that he resisted for the same bill to be tabled. And Speaker, it doesn't matter. I read, I follow. It does not amount to resistance. Majority leader was the one who resisted. He resisted. And that is factual.
Well, I don't think I am getting into the debate, but just drawing the attention of the House to a matter of facts. Yes, Honorable Roxanne Nelson.
Mr. Speaker, this is a house of records. And I'll show you, my brother, I'll show you the records. Speaker, I have in my hand a letter from the Parliamentary Service dated the 10th of April 2024. I'll table it. Please. I will table it. But let me submit the contents of the letter first. Mr. Speaker, it reads, the Secretary to the President, Office of the President, Jubilee House, Accra. Attention, Nana Bedietu Asante. Dear Secretary to the President, Reply, transmission of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024. I am writing to acknowledge receipt of your letter number OPS 140/1/24/235 dated 18th March 2024 on the above subject matter and received in my office on 19th March 2024. I have taken note of the contents of the letter, particularly the text in the last paragraph, which states that in the circumstances, you are kindly requested to cease and desist from transmitting the bill to the President until matters before the Supreme Court are resolved. Please, Jerry, please, Jerry, be patient. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 3. Accordingly, I await an indication in writing from your office on when to present the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024 to His Excellency the President for his consideration in pursuant to Article 1067 of the Constitution 1992. Mr. Speaker, please, Jerry, please, you have had your say. Speaker, these are the facts. Oh, please, Jerry, please. Speaker, these are the facts upon which my leader is making his submission. And Mr. Speaker, let the record further bear me out that on the 18th of December 2024, the Supreme Court determined the matter. It was the President who was still in office after the 18th of December. Yet, no letter came to Parliament for the bill to be submitted for his assent. So if the leader is saying that based on this, you resisted, he resisted the submission of the bill for your assent, he's right. It's based on the facts.
Speaker, first of all, I'm not too sure if you admitted what my brother and colleague read from the other side. We are not seized with that letter or that correspondence. I do not, Speaker. We have not been furnished with a copy. We haven't seen it, Speaker. Besides that, assuming without admitting that the content that he read is a content we should work with or run with, Speaker, it tells you something which is critical. And as legal practitioners, fortunately for my colleague who is also a lawyer, he understands that what has to be obeyed is the decision of the Supreme Court. Was he saying that the President was supposed to have moved ahead of the Supreme Court's decision? Is that what he's asking? Well, did he also say that the President said until the determination of the matter, do not forward any further correspondence on this same matter to my office? And he comes here to say that amounts to resistance.
That is wrong.
Speaker,
No, writing that, no.
How does that amount to resistance? He says, cease furnishing me with the same content until the Supreme Court has dealt with the matter. Speaker, if you don't see this as a lawful precedent, if you don't find this president as lawful and a respecter of the law, then what are you talking about?
Honorable available leader, I'm not debating, but to find out from you if Parliament is to perform a constitutional function of transmitting a bill passed by the House to the President, can there be a letter that desists from bringing it? The President could take the bill and decide that based on the pendency of the suit, I cannot act on it. But we debated this on the floor of Parliament and we concluded that Article 106, 7, and 8 is very clear as to what the president should do. The president can signify in writing that based on the pendency of the suit at the Supreme Court, I'm unable to sign the bill until the matter is determined. But for the executive secretary to write a letter to say that the bill that you have brought to me, cease to bring it, I think this House found that to be wrong because the matter came before the House and both sides have debated it. That's why I'm referring you to the constitutional provision 106, 7, and 8. You see, so honorable members, I don't think we should deviate from debating the principle of the bill into this matter, because that issue, senior members here can bear testimony to the fact that it came before the House, it was debated extensively, and then the presiding officer then gave a ruling. Some people were even agitating that based on that singular act of the president, we should pass vote of no confidence. It was part of the debate. That was part of the debate. Here, they said that should be censured. It was part of the debate. Please, I indicated that you make a factual, you make a statement which is not correct. So kindly withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, for education, I just want to see clarification. For education, I need some education from you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know I wanted to be sure of the provision of the Constitution you quoted, which is 106, 6, and 7.
I said 7 and 8.
106, 7, and 8. Okay. Mr. Speaker, the point I just need clarification, or you just made a point about vote of no confidence. The Constitution is clear. It says where a bill passed by Parliament is presented to the President for assent. That's presented to the President. In that particular instance, was the bill presented to the President? No.
My brother, the historical incidence was that it was when the bill went there that attracted that response from the executive secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I don't intend whatsoever, just for education. The letter the Majority Chief Whip read, the letter was clear, said, desists from presenting because the matter is before court. And the Constitution is clear that when the bill is presented to the President, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, my contention and further clarification I seek from you is, the bill, by the proper interpretation of this provision you quoted, was not presented to the President.
No.
And if it was presented to the President, the Secretary to the President would not have said that they should desist from presenting it.
The letter read was in response from what came from Parliament to the Presidency. It was a response. It's not original letter coming from the Presidency.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, Mr. Speaker, most respectfully, and in all modesty, Mr. Speaker, I was in government and I was somehow involved in this back and forth. The Clerk of Parliament will attest to this. Presenting a bill to the President, Mr. Speaker, is an act of law, which is why the framers of the Constitution said when the bill is presented to the President, it was not presented to the President, which is why the Secretary to the President clearly stated by the letter read by the Majority Chief Whip says the President Secretary indicated at the time that Parliament should desist from presenting the bill to the President. So, Mr. Speaker, it is my submission that that bill was not presented to the President, properly so called, within the four corners of Article 106, 7, and 8, as you quite rightly pointed out. The bill was not presented to the President, and therefore, the President will not have been deemed to have not assented to the
why
bill,
didn't the letter say
only
don't
for
bring
it
it,
to
but
even
desist?
occasion a vote of no presence? It's a desist. You did not present it. It's a desist from presenting it, Mr. Speaker. If the bill had been presented, that letter will not be couched to say desist from presenting
don't
it.
bring this.
It is so clear, Mr.
And
Mr.
desist
Speaker.
from doing this. Are they not two
Desist
different
from
things?
presenting it. It was not presented.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the former Minister for Lands says he was in government and that he was somehow involved. He was somehow involved. Is he admitting that he advised the president or the executive secretary to the president to handle this bill in this manner? First and foremost, from the letter of the clerk of parliament to the executive secretary, it is obvious that the executive secretary to the president had become aware of an attempt to present the bill to the president. Now, once the executive secretary to the president communicates to the clerk and tells the clerk that don't attempt to bring the bill here. Is that okay? Don't attempt to bring the bill here.
That is the president speaking.
Every reasonable bystander will impute constructive knowledge on the part of the president of the existence of a bill that was being presented to the president, except to say that the presidency was given an indication that it did not want to receive the bill for the assent of the president, and they were given an excuse that the matter was before the Supreme Court. The matter came to this house, and this house was clear that the Constitution, let me read it. Transmission of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024. Transmission. This is coming from the office of the president. It has come to the attention of this office that while the president and other senior officials of the presidency were at Peduasi for a cabinet retreat on Thursday, 14th March 2024, you attempted to submit. Mr. Speaker, you attempted to submit the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024, the bill, to Jubilee House for the president to signify his assent or otherwise to the bill. Please, the president is at the Jubilee House.
So why else was it to present it?
The president is at the Jubilee House. The clerk of parliament, in looking for the president to present a bill to him, cannot be going to Makola. He cannot be going to Accra Sports Stadium. Even if the president is attending a function at the Accra Sports Stadium, he can only go to the Flagstaff House, the Jubilee House, the official residence. And for years, we've been passing bills. The clerk does not carry the bill and go and hand over to the president directly. He doesn't. He carries it. Listen, he carries it to the secretary to the president, and they arrange the days when the bill will be assented to, and then he comes and sits there. In this instance, he was being told that he should dare not bring it. Don't bring it to this Jubilee House. So, Mr. Speaker, if I say that there was a resistance to the bill being presented to the president, It is an accurate reflection of what happened in this country. But Mr. Speaker, I don't even want us to waste our time. Ghanaians were in this country. They know what happened. They saw what happened, and they voted based on what happened. They voted based on what happened. And as for the bill, I can assure you that in good conscience, my belief was that the bill was passed by this House, and the presidency is a continuum, and the argument that it lapsed and it should be reintroduced, with all due respect to the Right Honorable Speaker, that is view, but my view has always been that if we had adopted the position that this bill has already been passed and the presidency is a continuum, so if a new president assumes office, that new president, even though the 7 days provided for in the Constitution had elapsed, if this bill treats the new president as having come into office and inherited a bill that is pending for his assent, should have just assented to it. If we had done that, this bill would have come into effect the first or second month since the president assumed office. But this debate went on, and there was a discussion, the matter was raised in this House, and the Speaker ruled. So we're all guided by the ruling of the Speaker. It was referred to a committee. It was referred to a committee, and the committee has just brought its report. Even this report, I am the one who is insisting that the report must be taken, even though the chairman of the committee is in Jeddah, he's not around. So I insisted that the vice chairman should come and present this report, and I am insisting that the clerks of, the sponsors of the bill, this morning I said, call all the sponsors of the bill, let them be in this House, because it is my commitment that in the next 2 weeks, we must pass this bill. We must pass this bill. I don't subscribe. I don't subscribe to people sponsoring a bill and abandoning the bill halfway. Yeah. I insist that those who are sponsoring this bill must make themselves available in this chamber and be committed to the bill so that we can pass it expeditiously. I cannot, in good conscience, stand against this bill. So, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member, I believe, is carried away by the excitement and euphoria in the House. But I just want to place it on record that I never resisted this bill being reintroduced in this House. It is, as for Akufo-Addo, the letter that his executive secretary wrote remains living testimony to the fact that there was a resistance to the bill being presented to the presidency. There was clear resistance, and it is documented. It is documented. If the clerk had just been told at the entrance, oh, the president is not available, so you go, when the president comes, we'll call him, there would not have been any documented evidence of the resistance. In this instance, apart from asking him to go back to Parliament, it was followed with a letter. It was followed with a letter. So clearly there is evidence of resistance. I don't know if the ranking member for Foreign Affairs participated in advising on a matter like this. But he says that he was involved. Yes. He says he was involved. Yes. But I don't know if he advised. He advised such conduct. He was in the thick of affairs. But he is admitting today that he was involved. We want to know the extent of his involvement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I really thank you for the opportunity. And I want to thank the Honorable Majority Leader for settling the matter. Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader is put on record, this is a House of Record, Hansard has captured it, that there was an attempted presentation. Mr. Speaker, you are a senior lawyer, he's a senior lawyer, and therefore there was no breach of Article 106.7. There was no breach, absolutely. The Majority Leader himself has said that there was an attempted presentation, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, that is the point I was making. The clerk to Parliament, Mr. Speaker, when he's presenting bills to the President, in fact, in today's Ghana, President Mahama actually organizes a whole media ceremony. Media soiree, if I may put it that way. Media, Mr. Speaker, with a clerk by his right-hand side. and then the relevant sector minister on his left-hand side. Mr. Speaker, with an executive assistant, presidential staffers, about 5 of them behind him, before a bill is presented to him, and then he assents to it. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore our submission from this side of the House that no bill was presented to President Akufo-Addo. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, there was absolutely no resistance to the presentation of the LGBTQ bill. The majority leader himself has confirmed that. He has said it clearly, and it's on record. Hansard has captured it. And Mr. Speaker, I get the point you were making. You were really proceeding on the back of 1067 and its proper interpretation. And you are right. You are very right to say, Mr. Speaker, that when a bill is presented to the president, and the president has issues with the bill in whole or in part, 10678 spells out clearly what the president should do. But in this case, there was no such presentation, there was no resistance, and the bill was not placed before the president. Mr. Speaker, but the majority then makes another point which is quite profound. He says on this floor, captured by Hansard on record, that he disagrees with the ruling of the speaker. And as a matter of fact, that he disagrees with the president. And that President John Mahama, when he came into office, all he should have done was to assent to this bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to also submit, Mr. Speaker, that the matter of LGBTQ was a major issue in the run-up to the 2024 election. And we all know that. The NDC made a categorical promise to the Ghanaian people that if voted into office within 24 hours, President Mahama was going to assent to the LGBTQ bill. His majority leader is on the floor today, on record, making a clear legal and procedural submission that President Mahama had no business, had no legal basis, and that procedurally, President Mahama was wrong not to have signed or assented to the LGBTQ. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, the vote of no confidence you indicated pursuant to Article 106(7) of the National Constitution, if there's a president which this House should debate a vote of no confidence in, pursuant to what you indicated from the teachings of Article 106(7), Mr. Speaker, by the submission of the majority leader, is his president. It should be His Excellency President Mahama, who has refused.
Can I seek clarification from you?
Mr. Speaker,
can I seek clarification from you?
Please.
If upon resumption of office, this House is to take decision whether to present the bill as passed to the President to assent, or because that Parliament elapsed, the bill must go through this Parliament. And as we speak, the one passed has not been presented to the current President. How would the current President take decision whether to assent or not to assent?
Mr.
So
Speaker,
the argument that you are making,
Mr. Speaker, the question you asked is a very brilliant question and a very profound one. Mr. Speaker, I hold the view, contrary to the view of the majority leader, that a parliament is dissolved with all of its acts. This is my view, respectfully. And therefore, the 8th Parliament, Mr. Speaker, on 6th January 2025, dissolved with all of its acts, including the LGBTQ bill. And this matter was debated in this House.
Yes.
The Speaker gave a ruling.
That is your view, which is different from the view that he holds.
Mr. Speaker, I'm just agreeing. Mr. Speaker, I agree with your position. That's the point I'm making. I agree with your position that a parliament is dissolved with its acts. And Mr. Speaker, we don't have time, and it's not an intellectual exercise to go into. Indeed, it is established, Mr. Speaker, that parliament, the history and origins of parliaments are convened for a term. And when the parliament is dissolved with its acts. But the point I'm making, the contention I'm making, Mr. Speaker, is that the majority leader is taking a contrary view. And Mr. Speaker, we were all in this House not too long ago when the majority leader said he takes the legal view and procedural view that the bill as passed by this parliament, which in his view was, let me paraphrase him, the presidency became constructively aware of the bill. When President Mahama was sworn into office, all President Mahama ought to have done by law and procedure was to assent to the bill, according to the majority leader. That is his position. And I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, that you respectfully indicated that there was even a suggestion that a vote of no confidence be passed in President Akufo-Addo pursuant to Article 106(7) because a bill was presented to him by this House and he failed, refused, and/or neglected to assent to it. I'm saying the person that we should pass a vote of no confidence pursuant to his submission is his own president.
They can play my voice to you. What I said was that what the president should have done is in Article 106, 7, or 8. And the matter has been debated on this floor. And people are of the view that instead of asking, don't bring the bill to me, he could have accepted the bill, exercised the constitutional function. Can you hear me out? Exercise the constitutional function to assent or not to assent, and use the pendency of the suit as a reason for his inability to assent. But the letter that don't bring the bill was problematic. This was debated on the floor, and people are of the view that such a letter emanating from the presidency must warrant vote of no confidence in the president. That was the debate on the floor.
Mr. Speaker,
well, I was not presiding to be called upon to rule on it. I would have done my ruling.
If I may just conclude in a second. In a second. Mr. Speaker, in a second. I conclude by saying that, Mr. Speaker, this matter, in my view, is being adequately settled by the Honorable Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader has made it abundantly clear that the President ought to assent to this bill. And therefore, all that we are doing, Mr. Speaker, in the view of the Majority Leader, is quite unnecessary. And I want to conclude by saying that, Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader rather should apologize to his President. He should be apologizing to President Mahama. He's taking a dramatically contrary view from the view taken by President Mahama. When the Catholic Bishops' Conference paid a courtesy call on President Mahama, the excuse he gave for not passing the LGBTQ bill was the fact that the bill dissolved with the dissolution of the 8th Parliament.
Based on the ruling of the House.
Yes, but his Majority Leader is on record here and on hazard, making the point that he disagrees with his President. He disagrees with President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, the truth is that the LGBTQ matter was just used as a political football by our friends from the other side. And they say vindication is in the womb of time. Give time some time. 18 months into the administration, they've not passed the bill. They brought a bill which I take the view is dramatically different from the bill passed by the 8th Parliament.
I think we've all heard the Majority Leader loud and clear. What he said was that his view is that we should transmit the bill to the President as passed. But the Right Honorable Speaker gave a ruling which he disagrees with. That's what he said. He never mentioned the name of the President.
Mr. Speaker, we all heard
I've heard you a lot.
You should apologize to us.
Let me hear.
You should apologize to President Akufo-Addo, apologize to President Mahama, apologize to this House, apologize to the Speaker.
Please, kindly resume your seat.
It is clear the LGBTQ is not there for politics.
Honorable Jinapo, resume your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, unlike you, me, I do not fear to disagree with my president. And my president is such a tolerant president that he has no problem with disagreement. He has no problem with disagreement. You are the ones who argued. Listen to yourself. Please, listen to yourself. You are arguing strenuously that the bill was not presented to the presidency. You are arguing strenuously that the bill was not presented to the presidency. I argued in this House at that time that the bill was presented to the presidency, you had constructively become aware of the bill, and that you had written to resist receipt of the bill. Consistent with that argument, I continue to argue that so far as I am concerned, a presidency is a continuum, and therefore, upon the assumption of office, the president inherited the bill. That is my argument. Indeed, listen, indeed, as a majority leader standing here, the day the speaker was to consider the arguments, I argued the same way as I am arguing today. I never changed position. And I never changed position because so far as I was concerned, I was looking for the most expeditious way of the law coming into force. That was my view. That this is the most expeditious way of having the law to come into force. But if we adopted the position that it was never presented and therefore it remained in this house and therefore lapsed with the life of the past parliament, then we're now going to go and start from the scratch, which meant that the committee, the sponsors will have to go through the motions of our standing orders presented to speaker. He has to consider it, admit it, now refer it to the committee. And I even caution that I recall that I was a member of the committee that considered it, and it took us close to 3 years. Over 200 public hearings. Every day we came, were held in the Kofi Annan auditorium. DF Annan auditorium, listening to memorandum after memorandum, interest group after interest group, traveling all over the world. I recall we were invited to Geneva, The Hague, and they confronted us with this bill. I recall that British parliamentarians came here and they met us. I led the then minority side, and all sort of innuendos and veiled threats were presented that if NDC assumed office and we passed a bill like that, do we know the implications for our government if we passed it? And I told them squarely that we will pass it. So, Mr. Speaker, I have been consistent on this matter. And so the attempt to create an impression that there's a problem if I disagree with President John Dramani Mahama. President John Dramani Mahama, I recall, and if the Attorney General were here, he would have confirmed to me that when we're having the debate at the presidency, the president said, me, I'm not a lawyer. You and Ayini, the two of you are lawyers. Go and then argue and resolve this matter and come and advise me as to what to do. Ayini took a view that, so far as he is concerned, the position of the speaker that the bill had lapsed with this parliament, was a prevailing legal view. I was of a different view, and I told the president recalls it. But Ayini is his Attorney General, and we brought the debate to the speaker. The speaker took a view that the Attorney General is right, and that I'm wrong. But I cannot run away from my legal view. That's why I repeat it all the time.
You see,
that this is my position on the matter.
Members, we all know the position of the majority leader. Therefore, to say that he resisted the bill from being placed on the order paper cannot be factually correct. He wants expeditious means of even getting the bill come into law. So the factual inaccuracy is the reason for which I'm asking the honorable member to withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I would want to be guided. Mr. Speaker, is it a case that, Mr. Speaker, I know that the
Will
rules...
you withdraw or you
Mr. Speaker,
withdraw?
I want to be guided. I want to be guided. Mr. Speaker, the rules and practices of this House rest in your bosom. Is it a case that when an objection is raised, you don't hear the other side, but you immediately ask the person to withdraw? If that is the case, I'll proceed.
Honorable member, you have the floor to speak.
Okay. Mr. Speaker.
You have the floor to speak.
Sure.
And you spoke. The practice of the House is that when you make a statement and your opponent is offended by the statement that you are making, they will throw the statement back to you that, look, you have said ABCD, the member is offended. You understand? So you take a decision, you do the honorable thing that, oh, if you are offended by what I have said, then my statement is withdrawn. That is what we do. But if you insist that you will not withdraw, you can enable me to take decision on that.
Well, Mr. Speaker, very respectfully, let me make a few points for your consideration. Mr. Speaker, from the submission made by the learned majority leader, Mr. Speaker, what is clear is that he had a view for which he thought that we should not debate the matter. And so the bill should not get onto the other paper. Mr. Speaker, that is resistance.
He never said so.
For good reason.
He never said so.
Mr. Speaker, that is resistance.
Honorable member, will you withdraw?
Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that.
Kindly resume your seat. Resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker, if you insist, I'll withdraw.
Yes, resume your seat. Yes, it's now the turn of the majority side. And I will consequently order that the statement that majority leader resisted the bill from getting onto the other paper is expunged from the record as if it does not exist. Yes, majority side.
Speaker, we are yielding to the honorable member for Dudu.
Yes, Honorable Niyashikote, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Majority Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report as laid by the Vice Chairman of the Committee on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs. Mr. Speaker, Parliament is a house of records, and therefore it is important to reiterate the fact that this bill was passed in the Parliament preceding my association with the Chamber, which was the 8th Parliament. It is also a fact that by the close of that Parliament, the bill has not been assented into law. Mr. Speaker, this bill has the hearts of Ghanaians following. This bill has been an eye-opener, very educative, and has gotten our traditional authorities, religious authorities, and Ghanaians at large shown utmost interest. Mr. Speaker, there have been concerns that as a country, we need to take a stand. I must say that it is important that the report, in fairness, covered the exemptions that are most necessary due to biological reasons. For example, a case of intersex, where persons were born with hormonal complications or chromosomal complications, away from the XX and the XY that we, the lay people, are aware of, into what we call the XXY, the XOs, and what have you. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is a serious country, which today is enviably leading campaigns towards Pan-Africanism, and therefore it is important that we as a country take a stand towards our sovereignty and sanctity. Mr. Speaker, I must also add that this bill is not targeting any individual in person. And Mr. Speaker, if you permit, I would like to read a sentence from the 9th page of the report, which states that the communication therefore called on Parliament to withdraw the bill and refrain from adopting measures that criminalizes identity, consensual intimacy, expressions, associations, peaceful assembly, or the provision of health and education or social services to LGBTQ persons. Mr. Speaker, also on page 10, the report captures, and I quote, that the committee opined that the bill is intended to protect Ghanaian cultural values, family structures, and public morality, which falls within the recognized grounds for limitations under Article 19.3. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that Ghanaians are looking up to, that the entire nation is watching, and so therefore it is my prayer that we adopt this bill and work on it from there. Mr. Speaker, I so submit. Thank you. Adopt the report and work on it. Mr. Speaker, I so submit. Thank you.
Honourable members, we have come to the conclusion of the debate on the bill under reference. I will therefore put a question. As many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted.
An act to provide for human sexual rights and family values and related matters.
Honourable members, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 is duly read for the second time. Yes, Honourable Roxanne Nelson, Eche Kwame Dapamoko, you may move the motion numbered 4.
Speaker, I move that notwithstanding the provision of Order 169 Rule 1 for outstanding orders, Speaker, which requires that when a bill has been read a second time, the bill shall pass through a consideration stage which shall not be taken until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed. The consideration stage of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 may be taken today. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honourable members, the procedural motion numbered 4 on the order paper addendum has been ably moved. Any seconder? Yes, Majority Leader.
It is my humble request that if you allow us to move the bill to the consideration stage today, and then we can adjourn, and then members can prepare for us to take it clause by clause at the next
Yes,
agenda.
that is what exactly we are doing. So I needed somebody to second the procedural motion.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. This being a procedural motion.
Speaker, the secondment didn't record, so if you can take that again.
Yes, Mr. Anthony Mie, you can take it again. Use the microphone. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
Very
you
well. Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
You are interested.
Motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This being a procedural motion, the question is as many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Now, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 at consideration stage. Now, Leader, this is the point at which you make your submission.
Mr. Speaker, the committee has recommended some amendments numbering up to about, quite a lot, numbering up to about 31 amendments by the committee. And I also believe members may individually have their own proposed amendments. So, Mr. Speaker, that being the case, since the amendments have not been advertised for us to take one after the other, we can take an adjournment and then come back tomorrow, by which time the amendments would have been advertised.
Yes, Majority Leader, let's do it one after the other. Yes, available leader. Deputy Whip, the application is that the committee has an amendment, which amendment is yet to be uploaded. And individual members of parliament may even want to advertise their proposed amendment. Therefore, we should defer the consideration of the bill for today.
I agree with the majority leader. I think it's well delivered.
Very well. Accordingly, the consideration
and this does not amount
of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Value Bill 2025 for today is deferred. Yes, Majority Leader, any indication?
So, Speaker, we have not done 5 hours yet, so I move that this House be adjourned to tomorrow at 10 a.m. It is Friday, and we hope to adjourn early tomorrow so that members who have to travel can travel. So, Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn till 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yes, Deputy Minority Whip.
The majority leader is in the spirit. People have come back from the Eid, and the resources are down. They need to go and engage further to see how they can keep their constituencies running. Speaker, today, my constituency has been submerged with the spillage of the dam. And so I'll call on the majority leader and the government to come to our aid. Speaker, it hasn't been easy at all. I've been swimming for the past 3 days, helping people to evacuate.
You know, my very good friend and my classmate, he who wants equity must do equity. If you really need help, I think you know what to do.
I do know. It's just good to always have your colleague, who is now the speaker, presiding, because that's an avenue to channel your troubles to the government of the day, especially the majority leader, who is my very, very good friend. He knows that. Speaker, my people are dying. We are suffering. Wejagbawe is under siege.
You see, if you make all these submissions, but you don't approach those who can provide the help, I don't think you will get it.
Speaker, I always take a cue. May you live long, Speaker.
So there is a motion for adjournment. Will you second the motion?
I have seconded the motion already.
Yes. Our members, motion for adjournment, move and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. I will put the question. As many as are in favor of the adjournment, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. No. Honourable members, the ayes have it. This House is accordingly adjourned till Friday, 29th May 2026 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.